Recorded Books and One Click Digital present Dreaming Spies, a novel of suspense featuring Mary Russell and Sherlock Holmes by Laurie R. King, narrated by Jenny Sterlin. The author opens with a quote from Matthew Arnold. "That sweet city with her dreaming spires." And now, Dreaming Spies.
Preamble. Sussex and Oxford, March 1925. Chapter 1. Old grey stone travels, moss-covered, cradled in straw, blinks at English spring. It's a rock, Holmes. Sherlock Holmes raised his teacup to his lips. He swallowed absently, then glanced down in surprise, as if the homecoming drink had brought to mind the face of a long-forgotten friend. "Is it the water from our well that makes Mrs. Hudson's tea so distinctive?" he mused. "Or the milk from Mrs. Philpot's cows?" My lack of reply had no effect on his pursuit of the idea. "It would make for an interesting monograph," he continued. "The significance of a society's hallmark beverage, tea. Moroccan, mint; Japanese, green; English, black. In America there is, well, one can hardly call it coffee. The Bedouin, of course." I only half listened to his reverie. Truth to tell, I was enjoying not only the contents of my cup, but the lack of fretting waves beneath my feet, and the peace of this cool spring afternoon. We had just returned, after what began as a brief light-hearted trip to Lisbon became, need I even add the word inevitably, tumultuous months in several countries. This was far from the first time I had stood on the terrace with a cup of tea, appreciating not being elsewhere. Although it did seem that no sooner was I enjoying the peace than something would come along to shatter it. An urgent telegram, a bleeding stranger at the door. I stirred. "Holmes, the rock." "You're right. It's probably best to leave America out of the matter. Although possibly—" "Holmes." "Yes, Russell, it is a rock. A rather fine rock, would you not agree? An almost Japanese sort of a rock." I turned my eyes from husband to granitic intruder. Higher than my knee, with an interesting pattern of moss and lichen and a tracery of dark veins running through it. The stone had been planted, for planted was the word, in the flower bed encircling the terrace, and not in a central position, but asymmetrically, half concealed behind a rounded juniper. In the spring it would almost disappear beneath Mrs. Hudson's peonies. Almost disappear, as it was almost Japanese. As I reflected on the massive and permanent shape, I realized that it looked as if it had risen from the Sussex earth long before juniper and peony were introduced. Before the old flint house behind me was built, for that matter, although it had definitely not been there when I left for Portugal the previous November. "It was most peculiar." Mrs. Hudson's voice behind us sounded apologetic. "These 4 Oriental gentlemen drove up in a lorry, and while the 3 young ones began to unpack the thing, it was wearing a sort of straw overcoat. The older one marched back here to look at the terrace. He poked at the ground for a few minutes, hard as stone itself, it being that cold snap we had in December, and asked me what colour my peonies were. It's beyond me how he knew there were peonies at all. He was polite, you understand, but a little quiet." We both turned sharply to look at her. "Did he threaten you?" Holmes demanded. "Heavens, no! I told you he was polite. Just, well, once or twice you've had folk here who, shall we say, give one the feeling that it's good they're on your side, if you know what I mean." "Dangerous?"
Sample complete. Ready to continue?